Hi, welcome to another episode of Cranial Diarrhea. I'm Tiff.
And I'm Rosie O'Donnell's long cousin, Tulip O'Houlihan.
Her long cousin?
Her long lost cousin.
You didn't
Tulip
say that.
O'Houlihan. Well, it's because you flipped us off as we started, so you threw me off. So with her countdown, she goes 3, 2, and I won't do the 1.
No, it was like this. 3.
Yeah, that's it.
1.
I kind of lost my whole train of thought there. All right, so welcome into another episode of Cranial Diarrhea.
Episode 2 of our Creatures and Cryptids.
Yes, and this week we're going to talk about something I really didn't know much about till I did a little research on it, and then it really kind of got interesting.
Today we are talking about the Loch Ness Monster's evil Russian cousin.
Boris Yeltsin.
The Brosno Dragon.
Oh, this was something I didn't even know existed, but evidently it's been around a long time because it said like Genghis Khan's grandson Shaka Khan took his army there and it devoured his army. Shaka Khan.
I don't think that's who it was.
Well, it was his grandson. It wasn't Shaka Khan. But
It's his grandson, like Timmy.
Yeah. Wally Khan.
Comic.
Or it's Icon.
The Wrath of
The Wrath of the Icon.
Khan!
But that was like a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like,
am
what is
Icon.
it, 13th century?
Yeah, so this thing is supposed to be like the Loch Ness Monster, but...
It's evil Russian cousin.
Yeah. Why does everything Russian have to be evil? I mean, it's like Rocky all over again. I'm going to fight the Russian icon.
Saw what they did to Hopper.
So, let's start this off. Why don't you give us a little background on this here?
Yeah, so when I was going down my research rabbit hole, the first thing that came up was about the actual lake that this thing inhabits. And that's the obviously the Brosno Lake.
Now, did you find out if this lake actually goes into like it branches out like into oceans and stuff? Like, is there a pathway?
I don't know. I know that there something said that it was carved out by a glacier at some
I
point.
just saw a car go through by your back window. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's our bedroom window.
Our bed, yeah. It says carved out by a glacier.
Yeah.
So, go ahead with the lake background.
So, Lake Brosno is surrounded by eerie abandoned villages and crumbling houses.
Now, I wonder if they're really abandoned, or did the Brosno Dragon eat them like he did?
Just ate everyone.
Yeah, like he did Icon's army.
The lake itself has a sunken church in it near an island. Like you can kind of see like portions of the church coming out of the water.
Wow.
No one can tell how old this church is, like how long this church has been there, because they can't, for whatever reason, they can't get to it. They can't do like any archaeological work.
So they
here.
can't like scuba dive in there or something?
According to the website, no.
Hmm.
In this lake, there are a number of fish living in there, so I just kind of took that to mean there's like plenty of food for the dragon. So, also, this lake is the deepest lake in Europe.
I wonder if that's why they can't get in there.
I don't know.
Maybe they can't get deep enough for something to find what they're looking for.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Can we just stop for a second?
Sure.
Because this is, goddamn, I got some crazy shit happening right now with my hair. So,
Don't want to stop by there.
I'm a little out of it tonight, so you guys are going to have to forgive me. All right, so here's the legend for what I could find, right? I couldn't come up, like, I don't have an origin.
No, there was. Well, I have two possible origins, but I'm going to get into that after you do the legend.
Okay.
Because that may take us on a different track.
Yeah, okay. So initially, it may seem like the counterpart to Nessie, but the sightings of this cryptid date back to the 13th century. So it was said to have attacked and scared to death a group of Tatar Mongol
We will defend our
horsemen
tater.
who were launching an attack on Russia. The legend has persisted ever since, with each new generation passing on the tale with their own sightings. One legend describes an enormous mouth opening in the lake to swallow fishermen and their boats whole. Another speaks of Vikings who wanted to hide plundered gold and treasure in the lake, but the dragon surfaced and swallowed an island, thwarting their plans. By the 19th century, the sightings have become a little less fanciful. It's been described as surfacing in the evenings, but submerging if people approach it. Brosnia is another term that they use to,
Yes, I've seen that.
to call this. Yeah, that's what they call it.
There was also a thing where in there somewhere, just kind of to add to the legend, where supposedly it ate an entire German airplane
I was
during
literally
World War.
about to say
Oh,
that.
go ahead. My bad.
It's said to have swallowed an entire German airplane in the 40s.
Gee, I wonder where we could have heard
Today,
that.
people local to the lake say it is responsible for capsizing boats, and it is attributed to the disappearance of several missing people. So that's kind of the legend behind it. And in terms of like, so I was like, okay, well that doesn't tell me like what it is, like what is it, right? So it's described as looking like a dragon. However, it would technically be classified as a living dinosaur. One suggested alternative to this, because people refuse to believe anything these days, they'd rather believe that this is a mutant beaver.
That's one bad beaver.
Some say there's a volcano under the lake and claim that explains the fanciful tales of like
Okay.
islands disappearing, ships capsizing, whatever. And it's also said to be, some people say it's just a mirage, which is a little insulting, I think, because if you're looking out into a lake and you see a dragon,
You've had a lot of show prep.
how would that be a mirage? Unless you've, you know.
Had a lot of show prep.
Yeah, so
So the
it's
kind of where my research led was looking at, because I was trying to find origins of it, and I found kind of different aspects of the same story, and then it splits. Like, one explanation is that this is an alien type entity, and why I say that is because this kind of splits off two ways. The first one says that the Loch Ness Monster and this are both from the same alien race that has landed and submerged on Earth and feeds in these lakes. Now,
this
they
was
say,
evil.
yeah, it's just an evil
It's
species.
an evil Russian cousin.
But the other theory is, and this one kind of cracks me up.
My faces I just made.
I know that was
What is
funny.
that?
I don't know.
What's happening?
But that this is an actual alien ship, and so is the Loch Ness and the others that are related, and they come up so often trying to make contact and phone home, I guess, and then go back down. And if there's witnesses, they're captured and kept on the ship. Somebody's had a lot of show prep for this one.
So wait, so they're saying these cryptids are alien spaceships
Either alien, there's two pathways.
that are just chilling in these random lakes.
Yep, they're just chilling out and they're coming up to phone home every once in a while, I guess.
Okay. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't. But neither does it being an alien being living in a lake.
Or a mutant beaver.
That's the best one yet. Maybe it's Fatty Walsh.
I'm like, okay, what? Well, it's obviously a mutant beaver.
Did you see that beaver down there?
That's a mutant beaver.
But my thing is, I wonder why it's in like kind of isolated type lakes where these things appear.
I don't know.
Because, you know, if you think about it, I mean, I guess the depths of the ocean, there's depths that we have not explored yet.
Well, so these, the lakes are, I don't know about the Loch Ness
I don't either. I'd have to.
I don't know about that. But the Brosno Lake is extremely secluded, right? And so I would think...
So there's not an inlet or outlet.
I have no idea. I didn't do that research.
Go ahead. What's your thought?
So where I was going with that was, this is technically, they're saying it's a living dinosaur, right? That's what the research is saying. So technically this would be described as a living dinosaur. So in that situation, anywhere other than a secluded lake, it wouldn't have survived this long.
But see, then I have to ask the question, how long would a dinosaur survive?
Well, it's not necessarily the same one, right? It depends. Like,
But if it's just one, how would it reproduce?
Jurassic Park, life, finds a way.
So maybe it's a family?
No, I think it just spawns. It's
I'm open. There you go.
people do that. I mean, not people, but I mean, like, there are
Kind of like Santa Claus. I'm retiring. You take over.
there are creatures or animals or whatever. I don't know off the top of my head what one of those would be, but that's a thing.
So like when Tim Allen puts the Santa Claus suit on, they put the Brontosaurus Rex suit on, and here they are.
No. I don't know how it works. They're just kind of like, it's time to reproduce.
But my so they fart another one out. Is that
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so boom, there it is.
I'm not a scientist. I'm just
Whoop,
saying.
there it is.
Yeah.
But I guess my thing with this is, you would think in modern technology that we.
And then they're like swimming around and they're like, "Did you just call my son a mutant beaver?" Yeah.
You pissed me off. I'm gonna eat your village.
I'm gonna eat your whole village because you called my son a mutant beaver. That's what happened.
Hey, I mean, but I guess my whole thing with this is, with modern technology, and there not to be any type of evidence as far as being captured. Because I'm sure there's people out there probably 24/7.
Well, again, this lake is really, really deep.
But at some point, wouldn't it have to come up to get food?
At night? No, if it's eating fish.
Well, that's true. That's true. I just have to wonder.
I will say, so they did do a research excursion to look for this thing in 2002.
Okay.
So a research association, they attempted to find it or find the truth behind it. They conducted an echo deep sounding, which I guess is where they
bounce the waves off. Okay.
And concluded that there was an anomaly in the lake. It was a jelly-like mass about the size of a rail car that hovered around 5 yards from the bottom of the lake, but they were unable to identify this mass.
Now, I read something somewhere about jelly-like masses that wash ashore, and there was like that could be one of those
Also,
masses.
like, gross. That's like giant loogie.
Look at the Jello. Bill Cosby going, I like my Jello.
But this thing seems like it's like sentient, like it's, I don't know.
So if it's a
lie.
I don't know. It's just really weird to think about, because you would think with technology that we have, somebody would have went, well, I wonder if anybody's ever went scuba diving.
Maybe they're being paid to keep their traps shut.
Maybe.
Because think about it. Because if the photos of this thing are incredibly hard to find.
So you think it might be like Area 51?
The overall mystery behind it is really appealing, right? And it really, I would think that it really does something for the tourism in this area. And so the locals are like, no
Brosnia, come here and be a snack.
No pictures, no, can't do that because we need to keep the
Or is it a government thing like Area 51?
You
which
think Russia
feeds
just
back-
has like a dragon?
Well,
and
it
they're
feeds
like,
back to like an alien thing.
I mean, I don't know. I think a lake would be a bad place to keep something like that. You know?
Just jump in there and swim around. You're right.
I don't. The U.S. is like, we've got some cool shit. Let's hide it in the desert and not allow anybody in. And you're telling me Russia's like, hey, we got this cool shit. We're just going to keep it in this lake.
Maybe the church is actually a secret underground lair for $1 million.
That was hard for me to.
Come on, done. Turn my hand up. Maybe that's their underground lair where Dr. Evil works on his projects.
I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with my my theory.
I think that's probably more accurate, but it just really makes you wonder because if you really think about it, you would think when you said, people are like not allowed to talk about it or whatever, it really makes you think, could it be some type of cover up?
I mean, it is Russia.
Just a thought.
So
Eh?
in terms of any kind of sightings, right? Obviously, this thing has not been spotted a whole lot, other than when it scared off Shaka Khan. In 1996, there was a tourist got a photo after their 7-year-old screamed that there was a monster, right? So they turned around and they were like, "Oh my god!" I can't find the picture. I looked for probably an hour and a half. I can't come across. There's nothing out there.
So this is a monster that knows how to hack into the internet and delete pictures.
However, the guy did give a description. It was between.
It was a frantic beaver.
It was a mutant beaver. So this thing is between 13 and 16 feet long. Fish or snake-like head. Large eyes, enormous tail.
So, could this be...
I would have to assume that there were a lot of teeth for this thing to be called a dragon.
Could this thing just be a giant snake?
In Russia?
Well, I mean, there's giant snakes, right?
Russia's a big place.
It's a big good place for a big snake.
My logic was they have lots of weather, like different climates.
It's a big place. I guess it could fit.
That's not where I was going with that. At all. At all. Thanks for making me look like an idiot, though. Cheers.
I get what you're saying. It's just the way you said it. What you were trying to say is there's many different climates
The
across
timing
the
was
country.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got
It is a big place.
it. Big snakes live in big places. I don't know.
But you would think if it was that, somebody would have got a picture of it at some time.
Not if they're being paid or coerced into keeping their fucking traps shut.
But why would you not want a picture of a big... Oh, because of the tourism and the lure. Ah, which brings me to another point.
Or Russia's like, we really hate fishermen. Don't tell anybody this thing's in this lake, so it'll eat all the fishermen.
This is our super 16-foot long snake submarine we've been working on.
Yeah, it's like a war weapon.
Yeah, it's a mutant submarine.
Weapon of mass digestion.
We haven't perfected it yet.
It just eats a lot. It scares the locals. It ate an island, whatever.
We call it Shaka. Hey, granddaughter. I know what you did. But, I mean, think about this. I mean, the cryptids that we're getting into now, there's not... You would think somehow there would be more proof in this day and time.
So I think that...
I mean, we have satellites in space that can
Well-
take pinpoint pictures.
I think for this particular one, it's a little hard to come by, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be available for the others, right? Because we haven't even
Right.
begun to delve into the others yet.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This one I didn't even know about until you were telling me about it. I didn't
know about it either.
Google.
100% to do this series, I just Googled list of cryptids and.
There was a bunch of them that we looked
Yeah, but
at.
I mean, they're not all in this list. There are more.
Yeah.
There are way more.
Yeah, there's like land, water,
Air.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Captain Planet.
And I will tell you, it's the Captain Planet cryptids.
Captain Planet, he's our hero.
You're making a laptop say.
Gonna take pollution down to zero.
I thought all week we were doing the chupacabra.
Yeah, he
So-
looked at the chupacabra. I was like, no. Is this we're doing different sections, right? So we're doing the series right now. You know, creatures and cryptids, but we're focusing on the water creatures and
Breaking
cryptids.
news.
Is that it? Yeah. So that's like an illustration.
That's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. Some kind of it. Yeah, it reminds me
Barracuda.
of.
That looks like a barracuda, like an overgrown barracuda.
Ooh, barracuda. Take some Tylenol.
It's an overgrown barracuda.
Or a mutant beaver.
I thought you were talking to me. I thought you called me an overgrown barracuda for a second. I don't even know what a barracuda is.
I think it's interesting that your research was like you came in here hot with it being like alien spaceships.
It's an alien. I mean, that was an interesting take on it. And then I got to thinking, what if all these are really aliens? And like Men in Black go over there and they're like, you see them and then they hit you with that pin that makes everybody forget.
You think the chupacabra is
I don't know. But it's possibly. And then somebody says, I'm and everybody forgets. I think I've seen a bag of chips. But, I mean, think about the possibilities. Do we really know what's out there in the universe? Do we really think nobody's been here?
I 100% think that yes, they've been here, but then they got here and they were like, this is not it.
They're like, exit, stage left.
This is not it.
I mean, I've watched shows where they talk about all the influence on the, like, building the pyramids. I don't know why I'm doing this, but building the pyramids and stuff. You see the alien land on, I think it's exit, stage left.
Like they're here for a week and then they're like, okay, that was a nice vacation. We're out.
You can visit Earth. Don't drink the water.
It's a nice place to visit.
Or maybe it's like the coneheads. They get sent here and they have to stay here so long and collect specimens and stuff.
What are they collecting?
Barracudas, evidently.
Mutant beavers.
Or transformers, and they transform into mutant beavers.
Okay. You're telling me that Optimus Prime comes down like
No.
disguised as like a chupacabra?
That's a mutant beaver.
Autobots.
Let me just preface this by saying, daughter's not feeling real well, so it's easy to mess with her tonight. So I'm just throwing stuff out there right now. So,
We obviously haven't learned how to manage our type 2 adult onset diabetes.
maybe you should consult with the angry beaver.
Mutant.
Oh, mutant beaver.
Angry beaver is something very different.
Teenage mutant angry
Mama, you're
beavers.
the angry beaver in your room.
Teenage mutant angry beavers.
Can we stop?
So, what do you really
Do
think?
we know? We are aware of what a beaver is a euphemism
No.
for.
No,
Yes.
no.
Stop.
Let's go back and talk about what? No, oh no.
I thought about the animal.
So, what are your real thoughts here
On what? I don't even know.
on the dragon?
What's so funny?
Do I think it's real?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's a cryptid? What do you think?
Well, obviously it's cryptid.
But
You
do you
don't
think
tell
it's
me, I'll
real?
look
Do you
it up.
think, after the research you did, what is your thoughts on this?
I'm kind kind of in a gray area because I want to believe it's real just because that's really cool. Based on what's been found on it or what's been discovered, which is not a lot, it leads me to believe that it's literally just
The thing about this was that there was less information as far as sightings that I found than like the mermaids and Loch Ness and that.
well, it's lesser known.
Right, and I think that could be too. Plus, you got to figure it's a more isolated area.
I did like that it's referred to as the Loch Ness Monster's evil Russian cousin.
It's funny.
That's pretty amusing to me.
That is funny. But I don't know. This one was really interesting because there was no definite proof.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of folklore to it, but
I think it's a lot of like word of mouth too.
and I
And
wonder.
in situations like that, like I'm sure you've played the phone game, right? In
Right.
school, you had to play it, whatever.
Yeah, where
Just
everything changes.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
changes. So through the generations, and everything like this, creatures, cryptids, fairy tales, whatever. Like, there's a grain of truth, right? Everything
Somebody
has
saw
to come
something.
from something.
Somebody saw something.
100%. It had to come from something. Now, is that a 16-foot dragon snakefish?
Chicken snake, barracuda.
I don't know. You know what I mean? But
Somebody saw something.
yeah, and it could have been something as simple as like an eel that they had never seen before, and then by the time we got to today, right, we're like, it's a 16-foot dragon with 1,000,000 teeth. And,
Well, now that could be.
you know what I mean? So,
But also, I have to wonder sometimes on some of these because of locations. And some of these are very remote locations.
yeah.
They are not, I guess I don't want to say popular, I don't know what the word, as well known maybe. It's like the Loch Ness Monster or the Bigfoot. I mean, Bigfoot's making commercials now for a beef jerky company. I mean, he's making a lot of money.
I think that's the real Bigfoot.
That's why I can't find him anymore. He has a mansion somewhere.
Yeah,
in the
he
woods.
bought a mansion. He built a mansion in the woods with the chupacabra. They're raising a family. It's all good.
That's like a whole thing. Like, there's still people out today but there's like tons of footage, pictures, and stuff like. But we'll get into
Yeah, but
Bigfoot because, like I said, like right now we're just focusing on the water dwelling.
right. But my point to that is, some of these, just because of location, are probably going to have more like photos or types of evidence. I
Yeah,
would say.
100%.
So you can't really discount this just because it's not out there.
My
Right.
toes are cool.
So I don't know. So what are you going to go with? Actual or legend? What would you, if you had to?
I'm gonna say legend.
That's what I'm going to say. Folklore
Yeah.
on this one,
I'm gonna
just
say
because. I don't know.
I'm gonna say I think that's what happened. I think somebody saw something in the lake that they couldn't identify, and it's something simple that we are well aware of today, and throughout the generation that just
That story grew.
it grew into this fantastic thing.
I also have to wonder sometimes if maybe, like, if you're in a remote village like that and say that village is struggling financially or whatever, do you build off a lore of something else, like, say, the Loch Ness
Well,
Monster?
it goes back to my other point, right? Like, that's a huge thing for tourism.
Right.
If you keep that mysterious air about it, yeah, that's like a huge. It pulls people in.
And
sure.
evidently, if this village is no longer vibrant, then evidently the lore didn't, because of an isolated area, I'm sure,
Yeah.
the lore didn't take place. But maybe, I'm sure somebody saw something.
I'm sure somebody did, but I think what they saw is what is
Right.
going to be important in this
Right.
situation, right? So
Right, and it may not be. And then again, you know how things, just like you said, what'd you call it, the phone game or whatever. Things get added as people tell the story.
yeah.
Everything kind of gets added to it.
Well,
so-
and everybody wants a piece of the pie, right? Everybody wants to be a piece of history. They want to be a part of it.
unless it's like apple pie or pear pie or something like that. Because
So if I'm
fruit
telling
doesn't
this
make
story that I heard from my grandfather, I'm adding my shit in, right?
right,
I'm gonna say, oh, I was down on the shore and this thing came up and was like, hey, what's up? And then it ate like a whole fucking,
it ate Ican's army
yeah, it ate a whole army.
icon.
You know what I mean? Like I saw this thing and it did this and this and this and this, and so now I'm a part of it. I'm a part of that legend, and that's really cool.
Right.
But did it happen?
Well, it's kind of like a person that goes fishing and they catch a fish this big. Well, eventually
Yeah.
that fish comes out
Yeah,
this big or something.
it's the same concept.
So yeah, so I think I'm going to vote on this one that it's more legend.
I think so.
I think this one is more legend than
I
actual.
think so. I think I agree with that.
And that's what we're going to go with.
I think it's cool legend.
Oh yeah, I think it's really cool.
Super cool.
I think it's really an alien ship coming up.
And I
from
think,
home.
I think that, if something were to come up that would change my mind, I would be interested to see that.
Yeah, and maybe something will someday.
Yeah,
You
maybe.
just don't know. But I think a lot of these.
But I'm not going to Russia to look for it.
No, I'm not either. But I just a lot of these that I think we're going to be getting into that are kind of in remote areas may fall into this category. Somebody saw something,
Yeah.
but I don't know that it was quite this.
And I think we're going to find a lot of similarities too
I think we are
in the
too.
cryptids.
And I'm wondering now, as we go through this, how many of these are legends that maybe started in one place and as
Absolutely, I
everything
think.
grew and spread.
Not even that, but like if you, because people move constantly, right?
Right,
You're
right.
going all over the planet, and tales spread that way.
Yeah.
And so maybe somebody was like, "Oh, hey, I saw what Nessie did for that portion of Scotland.
I'm the new mayor. Let's see if we can build this up.
Let's see if we can do this here." I don't know.
Possibility. Well, I think that was a good one.
I think
I
so.
think that was a real good one. So I think you think it's that time we're gonna flush the
It's time
alien
to
dragon down.
Flush the mutant beaver.
The mutant beaver alien dragon down.
Flush the dragon.
Flushing the dragon. So until next time, folks, keep looking into these things. I don't know.
If anybody can find a picture of this thing, let us know.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah. All right.